that who we are isn't really who we are, that the self-talking mind just fucking, and that we actually are something else, right? But we can't. It's very hard to find that space, right? And it's very uncomfortable because we got a bunch of shadows and shit we've done to block our soul from the sunlight of the spirit. And it just seems to me to just be cutting right through the mustard, dude, that like there is nothing of, if you truly are on the path, that is it. The end of the story, dude. And everything that gets into the way of that, man, chuck it.
What if it's the integrity of your live stream? and what if it's the fact that your live stream just went out and this message isn't going to other people?
Well,
that's a weird one, right? Yeah. Like I feel like that's what I'm fucked up about right now.
But maybe
but isn't that
accept it.
No, there is.
Yeah.
I know. It's for whatever reason that's what's happening, and it should not matter really. But it gets tricky when you're trying to do stuff.
Well, it's that thing that's like when you when you really understand, like I'll get a little hippy dippy a little bit, is everything we experience is not, this isn't real. None of this is real.
Right.
It's all electromagnetic energy. And our eyes can only see like this much of the electromagnetic spectrum that's infinite. We can only hear so much of the sound waves. We can only feel and touch and smell so much. A dog can hear different things. A cat can see different things. Bumblebees can see different things. So like if we base our soul on this thing, trinkets and novelty items, dude, like we've sold out ourselves for nothing. And maybe that's why we are the lucky ones, because we've already fucking burned it all down, dude. Like what do we got left to sell? Nothing. That's why we got sober, right? That's how we grabbed onto it like a drowning man or woman.
Can I real quick? Something I've been meditating on recently, and it's like I think just God put it in my mind one day. I'm trying to get better at is fuck, I wrote it down. It's okay, let me just get it out because I'm gonna.
What happened to Paul? Did you hit him up? You sure?
Are you sure?
So like with your whole thing, it just hit like I want to be connected but unattached, right? So like we get attached to things of this world so fucking easily, especially living in LA. We want it all. We want to be the best, all this stuff. But if we could just feel, or if I could just feel more connected, not need to feel attached to somebody, something, some place, some person, and still feel that connection and that love. I think like that's the ultimate goal. My mind's got a lot going on. You guys are sparking a lot of good stuff.
Nice.
So
to detach yourself from the results. Show up, put one foot in front of the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can I just touch on what Pat was saying, like the integrity of your live stream? Like, yes, it's unfortunate that other people are not connected right now.
Yeah.
However, it's not worth quitting the meeting.
Yeah.
Because part of it is for just you alone, right? For your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get a benefit out of that, don't cut the meeting off. Of course, you wouldn't do that, but the value of pursuing something for your soul's integrity is still worth it for one single soul, despite the unfortunate, you can't, if something you don't have control of, don't let it derail you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's part of the
That shit on silent.
Is there no answer for what he was saying?
Who?
Brian. I haven't really admitted I'm an alcoholic, but I'm addicted to everything I fucking do, so I probably am. But yeah, if you can get rid of all that stuff, but still be committed to life, like you've been doing it for so long, isn't there? You don't have like an easy answer for that?
For what?
You figured it out.
For what he was asking.
How to be connected and
Getting rid of all the petty shit.
but
Service,
that's a big
helping
one.
someone
But
else.
we
Getting out of what you want, what your ego thinks you
But
want.
on a real like example, like why are they always talking about breath work, right? We breathe all the time. We got to do it to live. We're totally attached to this oxygen and it moving through our system and doing all this stuff and exhaling and getting rid of the dirty air, right? Like we do all that all the time without thinking about it. We are total. What you were saying is like attached by it being detached. Like we do it in all sorts of ways, but we take it for granted, right? We take it for granted. That's why I like the big, I can't breathe, right? Like we take this thing for granted. And if we apply that to the thing, we already know how to do it. We just have confused by the shiny objects, man. Because it's like how do you capture a raccoon, dude? You know how to capture a raccoon, right? No, you drill a hole in a log and put a couple nails in it and put something shiny in there, and he'll grab it. The raccoon will grab it, and his fist won't be able to get past the nails, but he won't ever let go to save his life.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, right. So that's the gig is we know how to do it if we go back to like our spiritual self without all the. We've been told all this stuff matters. Like when we're born, like we've been conditioned that this is. Is it what? I don't even know.
I think to go off, what helped me was it's called the Friar's Prayer. Is that Friar? I think that's what it's called. Friar's Prayer. And it's the love. I'm not able to get it out. I think I could share it later, but it's it really. You know what I'm talking about? What it is?
How much time do you have?
5 minutes.
Then I might be a light where there's dark. That prayer.
Oh, St. Francis prayer.
Thank you, St. Francis
Yeah.
prayer.
Where there's darkness, may I bring light.
Yeah.
But like, how much time do you have?
So
How we do this? Like, I have 15 years, and I just asked Prosser if I could start doing step work with him again because I need to take him through the book for me.
Right.
The only way that I can feel okay is if I'm not doing shit for me, which is why I did all this, because it's when I feel the best is when we're helping others. So it doesn't matter how much time you have. Honestly, Bill and Bob started.
Oh, I'm sorry. You mean sobriety?
Sober time.
Yeah. So I got 9 months and then released that 4 months ago or so. So
okay,
right
so
now,
you have some time. You have a couple.
I'm sober right now.
Okay,
but,
it actually doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Do you have a sponsor? Are you doing steps?
Yeah.
You do?
I have a sponsor. I did my steps, and I'm gonna now have to. I admitted in a it fucking was hard. I had to go into the group and say like I've fallen off, and that was tough. But I just gotta get back on the horse.
So we have to give this away. Like you have to give what you've been given to someone else, like every day, no matter how much time you have sober, and that's how we.
The way we get to keep it, man.
It's the only way. And some people think like, oh, you need to go through your steps or you need to have a year. That's all bullshit. Because if you read the book, Bill couldn't stay sober. He had months and he needed to work with other alcoholics like right away. So it's like there's someone else out there that has less time than you.
Yeah.
And there are people in this room who want your number. Like you should call me and like or Mikey.
We already talked. We're gonna do it together.
Yeah, and that's how.
Right,
I mean, that's literally the
Yeah.
answers in this room.
Yeah.
This is the thing. So like, get the numbers, make the calls, and the magic starts happening.
You know why this shit's cool is I hope it shows people that like it's cool to care. You know? Like our society right now in LA thing is like, don't give a shit. You're so cool. Like, hopefully this opens up the younger generation to show like, especially where we're at in the heart of freaking Malibu in a beautiful area. Like it is cool to freaking care about other people.
It's also cool to lose. fuck like winning and acting like that's the whole brand behind everything we're doing is like, we are flawed, we are imperfect, and we're not trying to pretend like we're some perfect version of whatever it is. Because this thing we're doing does translate into like social media and culture and like young, like I like what you said, and I think you're right. Like I think a lot of our culture has it backwards, Yeah, we're just trying to do our
Well,
part.
it's also that thing too, right? It almost goes into with what he's saying is like, you even can't, if you're not willing to put the oxygen mask on yourself first, like you can't help anybody else.
Right.
Like I would even say that that's one of these things right here is anything that stands in the way. So I think one of the things that people fall victim to a lot is trying to clean up everybody else's yard, help everybody else instead of like, no, you need to help yourself first. Like the big, like, I want to heal the world, dude, make the world a better place. Yet I'm going to treat myself like shit.
Yeah.
Like that,
Or
like
smoke crack while doing it.
the vegan fucking junkie, dude.
Right.
It's,
Yeah.
but it's that thing that's like, if we're
But he's got the guy, you have the oxygen mask on right now.
Yeah, right.
You put it on. You're here.
Yeah.
now you can
So
put it
now
on
you
someone
just
next
need
to
to
you.
make the call. Mikey, what do you think?
My name's Mike and I'm an alcoholic.
Mikey.
Sorry I'm being so weird. I have an underlying disease. So I'm a little freaked out, I'm not gonna lie.
Really? What do you mean?
Just COVID safety.
Just COVID. I'm just being cautious so I love everyone. We talked earlier for 5 minutes and I'm looking at that like that's not just something that happens. Like you have to realize that. You know why? Because I realized that. Brittany, you guys around the house and we started talking and I was like, we're complete strangers. But it's sincere because it goes back to everything we're saying. It's like Pat's talking about social media. I filmed a video earlier with Pat and I don't even know if he noticed it, but he said something at the end of the video. He's like, why do we want to be famous? Like what? Like, you know what I mean? I come from the music industry, right? And it's like that was my driving force in this world was to be a rock star and to be, and for whatever reason, I mean, I believe God gave me that talent and I only got sober for music, but take that away, right? If we take this house away, take everything away that we have, it's like we're still left with ourselves. And that's something I have to realize and that I have to understand. And it's like there's core issues. I like to use I statements. There's core issues why I still do the things that I do and act the way that I act and receive what other people do a certain way, whether it triggers something in me. Because most of the time when I have a problem with myself, when I have a problem with somebody else, it's me. That's just what I've learned.
All the time.
Can I finish? No, I'm kidding. All the time. Yeah, no, you're right. So that's the hardest thing to go through this life. Like I believe that I haven't drank in 17 years or used drugs in 17 years, but I've done some fucked up shit in recovery that I'm not proud of. And I'm aware of that. That's why I tell me your name again. Brett. Yeah, and I just want to see if you knew. No, but that's exactly what I said. Like you just openly told me, oh, this and this and this. You're open here, so it's like what drugs and alcohol do is they take away our freedom and our awareness. So today I have a choice on whether I'm going to wear a mask and stay away from you, like whatever it might be. So Pat called on me, so that's why I'm rambling. But I just know that I'm a flawed man, I'm a flawed human being, and I'm just striving to be better each day, and that has to do with taking a look at myself, not changing anybody except myself. So I like what everyone's been saying about it, like. To keep what I have to give it away, so thanks for letting me share.
Thanks, Mikey.
Yeah, follow that up.
I think, Brett, you're the next paragraph.
Am I?
Yeah,
Yep. Oh shit.
you're that guy.
I'm that guy.
Yeah, it's all about you, man.
It matters not what the thing may be that is standing between us and our true contact with God. It must go. It may be a sin. It may be an old grudge left unforgiven. It may be stark greed for the things of this world. But whatever it is, it must go. Such things as these, however, are so obvious that at least the transgressor is certain to be aware of them. It is the subtle things like self-love and his brother, self-righteousness, spiritual pride, and so forth that are most difficult for the self to detect and to exercise. But it must be done. It sometimes happens that the practice of a certain profession or the association with certain people or memberships of some particular body is what is standing in our way. And if such is the case, we must not hesitate. The price must be paid. I'm gonna stop there. I have weirdly, I never read in like groups because I had like a learning disability growing up, and this was like one of my most fearful things, like, is to read. But God's really testing me by being here tonight. It's wild.
Nice.
It really
I'm the
is.
same way.
Yeah.
But that's actually the cool thing about AA is it sort of forces us to walk into fears, like speaking in front of people. And
Yeah.
it's like certain things you don't realize are actually helping you grow and AA has been set up in such a way where it's like,
Great.
Thank you.
yeah, it was perfect.
Thanks.
I'm Brittany. I'm an alcoholic and an addict.
Brittany.
I really love the first sentence of this paragraph, that it must go. Anything between me and anything I put before my God, it must go. Brett and I were talking kind of about this, like being connected and not attached, but whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, anything I put before God, I may get it, I may not. Usually I don't, but it's fleeting and it's not lasting. And in my life, God is everything to me. And if I don't stay in that mindset and I put a relationship before God, a career before God, my feelings before God, my emotion, anything, like it's not filling that void in me, and that I'm most likely not going to get it. It's just this idea of this false notion story that I tell myself, and so the more that I can lose those things every day, and it's an everyday thing for me, like every day I have to like wake up and lose every day. Speaking of losing, learning to lose, because there's obviously things that I want in my life, and anytime I go after those things, but I put them before God and my relationship with Him, then I don't get those things. They're fleeting. They don't work out. I get upset. Circumstances. So it's just something that I've been like constantly having to go through, like with my journey in sobriety and just like life, and circumstances. Is not, everything must go that I put. If I want this connectedness and I want this peace and to help other people and to be like the best like impact and the best Brittany that I can be, like I have to continually to lose those things and throw them out the window and stay connected to my God and like remember that like He's everything. And I fail every day at it, but
You're
know?
here.
Yeah, I missed you guys. I missed the meeting. Like, I was texting Danielle, like, over the, like, are they back yet from Costa Rica? Like, what's going on, you know? And I just think it's how awesome, like, how it works, you know. Danielle invited me to another meeting, and that's how I met Brett, and then I invited him here. So it's just cool, like, how things work and how we can all help each other through this crazy thing called life. Thanks for letting me
Thanks,
share.
Brittany.
Thanks, Britt.
Yeah.
Can I go?
Yeah, Rudy.
I'm Rudy. I'm an alcoholic.
Rudy.
Yeah, Rudy.
What you're saying really resonates with me as far as like putting God before everything else. Because the last couple of months, I've really been testing myself and my sobriety as far as like, I have really bad codependency issues on like people. Like I'm codependent with Pat and Veronica. I'm codependent with Danielle. I'm codependent with Wickham and any man who comes into my life. I just like want to like latch onto it and like I'm like, you're my world. And then they do one small thing and then I'm like, I fucking hate you. So it's just like over the past couple of weeks, I've started to just really be grateful for my sobriety instead of like constantly seeking for an answer. And I've really been boasting in my weakness lately and just being like, man, I'm so lucky to have hit a rock bottom and been able to be like, yo, I get to choose to do the right thing. Like from this point forward. And like every day I do get to choose to do the right thing, because when I was using every day, it's funny how like when you're using a substance, it's so much easier to make excuses for like the shitty things that you do and like and be like, okay, well, I'm fucked up. I wouldn't do the right thing anyway. I'm fucked up. Like I'm just a fucked up person. But I'm not. And like in getting that freedom back to like make my own choices, I've reconnected with God in a lot of ways. Like I've started praying again. And like when people are like, wow, that's great, I'm like, yeah, God is good. You know, and I used to never say that because when I was more in my substance abuse and untreated alcoholism, it was like I did get physically and mentally and spiritually further and further away from God. I was like, I'm not even a Christian. Whereas like now I'm like, yeah, I feel that I want to be around community and fellowship, and it's really important for my sobriety to like stick with it. And I'm not scared of it anymore because I'm putting that first instead of like putting a relationship or an answer, because like God is the answer. That's all.
Thank you, Rudy.
Thanks, Rudy. Congratulations on 95 days.
Thank you.
Yeah.
94. It'll be 95 tomorrow.
All right, good for
That's
you.
amazing.
Don't roll your eyes. In.
Just like that.
Liar.
I didn't lie.
I'm just joking. You said 95 tomorrow.
It's at 95 tomorrow.
Yeah, all you have is today. Just take it easy.
So, is this next thing relating to the paragraph next, or is this next thing relating to the paragraph we just read?
I don't know. Maybe we should work on. I like this because this is almost the why the fourth step is in front of 6 and 7, right? Like you can't work on like what Brittany was saying, like the stuff we do in our day that is we got to deal with. It be life's a motherfucker, right? But like if like we have a shot at dealing with our own weirdness and failures of just daily living much easier if we're not carrying around our bag of baggage, right? Like, and it kind of talks about that in the beginning of this paragraph, is like get anything out of the way, right? Because is our character defects, is that something that I have my character defects, Like I'll never not have them. I can have God come in and remove them temporarily sometimes if I quick on the fly, you know what I mean? But I can't get to that space if I'm worried, like carrying around like, you know, what I did in 6th grade or how I kind of screwed over my parents here and I did this there. Like why we do the 4 steps before we do the character defects, right? Is because like we need to get all the big boogeymen out of the closet and expose them. And then we
mean the 3rd step. The 4th step is the character defect. 4th,
but no, the 4 steps, you're fearless and searching, fearless and moral in your inventory, right? And then 5, you tell another person and God what that was, and you get rid of it. Mm-hmm. And then 6 and 7, 6 is what you're made a list of your character defects, and 7's promptly how to remove.
But you're saying,
I'm saying that like
doing that, looking inwardly, comes before.
Well, I'm saying is I'm kind of piggybacking on what Brittany and Rudy were saying is it's really, I can't imagine it being easy to deal with my daily failings, if you will, if I still got a bunch of like life bullshit in the closet that I haven't dealt with, right?
The resentments list.
Well, the resentments, the things I haven't come clean about, my little weird secrets that I got in there that I've never bothered to tell another person in God, right? So I got to get all that. I was just more tripping on the thing of like, yeah, well, like my character defects are always with me, right? Like I called some dude a fucking kook today out in the water. It just came out, dude. Like,
yeah,
but you know what I mean is, but I didn't have a bunch of.
Bro, I almost did in Costa Rica like 4 times.
But I don't have a bunch of baggage that weights me down with my fuck up in the space. I didn't have to make it a big mountain of nonsense. Like I just blew it in the moment and kind of was like, all right, don't do that again. But it didn't come with the weight of all of my life's problems that I had when I first got sober. And I couldn't have ever dealt with that space. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Like
to make it right.
Well, not even to make it. No,
I'm saying, did you?
Some dude called me a fucking kook like a half an hour later. So it comes around, goes around. But my point being is that on a daily basis, like we have like our human qualities, like our blowingness, we do, like what we do. But it's not baggage. It's just what we do. The baggage we get rid of, and then we can handle like what we do. Like what, then I kind of talk about what you were talking about is the things that block us from God in the daily are a lot easier to deal with because we don't have all this stuff there that we dealt with in the 4th step. And I just, why the 4 steps in front of the 6th and 7th step? It just, I kind of like, was like, oh yeah, okay, I get it.
Yeah, it says, it must go. It may be an old grudge left unforgiven. It may be stark greed for the things of this world, the trinkets. But whatever it is, it must go. Such things as these, however, are so obvious that at least the transgressor is certain to be aware of them. It is the subtle things like self-love and his brother, self-righteousness. Dude, that's so dope. That's like, I'm an egomaniac with an inferiority complex. That's what I am, you know? Like self-love and his brother, self-righteousness, spiritual pride, and so forth are the most difficult for the self to detect. So he's saying greed for the material things of the world are easy things for us to see that we need to let go of. But the hard things are like spiritual pride, self-righteousness. But it must be done. It sometimes happens that the practice of certain profession or association with certain people or membership of some particular body is what is standing in our way. And if such is the case, we must not hesitate. The price must be paid.
A lot of shit going on there.
A lot of shit going on here. That's the thing. That's why we do this meeting and why we try to talk about it, because I feel like, I mean, sometimes we might only read 2 paragraphs just to try to really, and I kind of wish Paul was here and hopefully Billy.
He brings the hammer down.
he just breaks this shit down, dude. And like Billy's really good at that too. And hopefully he'll be here soon, or he's gonna probably do the podcast with us afterwards. But
Burning Alcoholic, it kind of reminds me too a lot about, and he would know like in the big book exactly where it says, but kind of being on that even playing field too, and talking about I struggle with codependency too. If I'm so attached to a job, to money, to fame, to followers, to being skinny, to this relationship, like if I get that thing and it goes away, I struggle with falling apart. Like that relationship goes, like I just made that my higher power, made that job my higher power, and that goes, then I'm left with nothing. And that's where a lot of my drug abuse has come in, because I make that thing my God, whatever it is, and I'm so attached to that. All of that shit's fleeting. It's so temporary, and I lose it, and I'm left with me, and I don't know what the fuck who I am. So I fall apart, and then I use substances to try and numb whatever shit's going on, and so that's where it's like all this shit's gotta go, and not to be so attached to these things. So then I'm less in the big book, where I'm more like on the even playing field. Like I'm less at risk to being like really, really sad and really depressed. I don't want to get like really, really excited, or overworked, that even playing field of just like that connectedness. Like that's a sweet spot, like that I would like to get to, in my life. But again, like I suck at it every day, like it's awareness. I feel like I have all this like awareness and like, knowledge, like but my knowledge doesn't keep me sober for fucking 5 minutes. It's nothing. And like the ego and the self-pity, like someone told me, with the ego, I'm really in the self-pity. Your ego if you're thinking you're better than, or your ego if you're thinking you're less than too. The self-pity ego, that's my chill zone, so anyways, thanks, Brett.
We talked about this real quick. So I'm a very visual person, and I always, I always say I've got a fucking giant hole in the center of me. And I try to put women, drugs, alcohol, all that shit. The only thing that sustains me completely is a connection with God. And man, I got out of a relationship, and I was doing so well sober and in my sobriety, and just reconnecting my relationship with God. I felt almost guilty at some point, knowing there's other people out there. Like I wanted them to feel that. It's not perfect. I've fallen away from it pretty much daily, but again, I mean, maybe this helps somebody. Like that really, just imagining that fucking black hole in the center of me. Connection with God, baby. That's like number one.
So I'm Pat, I'm an alcoholic. I just want to, sorry I keep sharing. I think this is important, because like, what if I don't believe in God? What if I don't know what is that God? Like, I don't know what that is. When I first get sober, I'm like, shut up with the God shit already. That's what I was thinking. So here's what it's not. Okay. It's not the person that I'm in the relationship with. Okay. It can't be any person, place, or thing. It definitely isn't me in my head. That's the first thing. That's the great thing about like AA. It's like, okay, you don't need to know what God could just be the desire to do righteous acts. It's the desire to be a good person. That's all it can be in the beginning. But the important thing is that it's not me. Like I can't go to my brain. And I also, if I'm having an emotional response to anything, there's some form of worship in that. That's what I learned from Michaelis recently. We were writing this shit down in the book. So if I lose this house, or if I lose my wife, like, yo, what if I lost her? Like, how could I not have an emotional response to that? So I think as humans, we're going to do this. We're going to worship things like relationships and money. But the thing about God, I think why it's important for us to sort of develop a relationship with God, whatever the fuck that means. You don't need to believe in that the way that like we do. You have to have your own understanding of what that is. So I think for me, the important thing is just recognizing what it's not, because we're constantly making things our God, you know, and that's what we don't want to be doing. So I don't want to be worshiping any kind of status or success or any kind of you know, money or any kind of relationship or sex and I need to. The other cool thing about God is that I get to get out of my head. I get to ask something other than me and my ego and my fucking desires and my wants. Like, what's the best? What would you have me do in this situation? Because I don't know what to do. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I want. I'm in fear of losing. And then by going somewhere else, it's there's just something in the practice of that, in the act of that. And the more we do that, the better we get at pausing and not sort of wrecking our life. Because our pride and ego causes us to just like wreck our life. God just made me sort of see that just happened. I just wanted to like look over at Jordan because he's here and he's been through a lot. I don't know if you want to share at all about what's about maybe if your ego or pride is
let me add
your life recently.
I will share, but go ahead. Yeah. Just to touch on Pat's point real quick. Like, I think just having an open mind that there possibly is a God is like God enough.
Anything,
you know, like I don't know if any of you have like experienced a fucking earthquake or a natural disaster, but like if there's not some shit out there that's bigger than us, like there's that shit will set you straight real quick. You know, so I mean, for a lot of people who are like, well, I want to get sober, I don't believe in God.
That's
the idea,
normal.
Yeah, no, I'm just giving them, you know, some advice that the idea, these people didn't, you know, they didn't write the Bible. There's not all this. I mean, Jesus Christ is the most famous person in the world. There's not anybody more famous than Jesus Christ, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the fact.
A couple billion Muslims would disagree.
True.
Allah.
No,
they know Jesus too. Right?
Yeah, no, that's not about knowing him. It's about just like, you know, Jesus, and then Michael Jackson is probably next. But just I mean, look, everybody they've written every single book and piece of literature that is probably the most read thing in the world. So having an open mind to that may be true is like a portal to being outside of your own head and yourself as God or a person puts your thing.
Hamish alcoholic. I just want to point this out real quick before, just on this, but just on the AA step process, God isn't mentioned till step 3, right? And if you kind of trip on that, as like step 2 is came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Like, so step 2, like I think God gets brought in a little bit quick for the, like, it's not in it till step 3 because it's trying to baby you there, right? It's just going, do you power greater than yourselves can restore? That's your earthquake, that's your door handle,
this ocean,
that's the hay truck, the doorknob, whatever it is.
The hay truck.
And people talk about the hay truck. You remember really? The hay truck?
I've never heard that one.
The horses, man. How the horses eat.
The hay truck.
The horse people get what I'm talking about. But I just wanted to point that out that the God thing doesn't come in till step 3, which I think is very kind of cool on and then even then it's pretty of our understanding. So
sure. Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that in.
Thank
before
you.
we got out of there.
Yeah.
am I supposed to share on?
Well,
Do whatever you want.
Well, I was talking about how pride and ego can sometimes wreck our life, and also about like putting material things in front of our God. And from my experience, it's when I lose the most that I'm sometimes free. Like there's this Janis Joplin lyric I love: freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. And I don't know, bro, like I feel like you've lost a lot recently.
Yeah, in the last month, my house burned down.
And you're here.
Yeah, the house I was renting. My daughter and I, we were in the house. The explosion happened. House burned down, and then same month, my truck that I work with got stolen in Beverly Hills, where insurance was putting us up in an Airbnb. Mind you, I'm trying to stay sober. You fucking can't. You know, I have 8 charges against me right now: felony assault against peace officers.
Yeah, you were telling me about how
I'm
that.
humbled right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm scared.
Yeah, well, I want you to make sure you get Mikey's number for sure. I don't know, maybe you and Derek can exchange numbers.
But that's what I'm going through. I mean, I'm blessed. I have a roof over my head.
But I feel like if everything was good, you probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And this is where you need to be.
Yeah.
So like, even if you have all that shit,
Yeah.
like that's what we're talking about. It's like getting
it
this
was
shit
in
right.
it was in Topanga Canyon on Saddle Peak, right? God's Seat. I mean, I woke up to an ocean view every single morning. It was an older house, but I mean, my ego was just like, shit. I had a studio set up, all my recording equipment, my M audios, my keyboards, everything, my shirt in-ears, every zillion symbol you could think of. 2 drum kits inherited by Chet. 2 drum kits inherited by Chet McCracken.
Oh, fuck.
Mikey's the drummer too.
I just bought my daughter a 50 for her birthday. Dirt bike that burnt like everything, like all of our clothes, like a total loss of everything, gone, completely depleted.
I mean, look, dude, let me just
talk
say.
to Hamish.
Yeah,
He's
Hamish
been
lost
through that.
everything too.
That's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, I went through that a couple years ago in
It's
the
the
Woolsey
most
fire.
humbling thing.
Yes.
Like, people get like.
I mean, listen, man, you got your daughter and you got your health. Yeah.
Your clothes burn.
Yeah.
You got to go buy a whole new wardrobe. You know.
But like we've been talking now for about a year or so, and I feel like God, well, from my experience, God or the universe or whatever, like does for me what I can't do for myself. And it's not till I lose everything sometimes. I mean, if you're real stubborn like I am, you sometimes some just have to lose more than others.
Yeah, I've lost everything. Yeah.
I don't know, like I feel like I can sense that humility in you, and I'm like really glad you're here. And I think that I know that anyone who gets sober has a lot to offer the world, and I just hope that, I mean, dude texted me like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just come here, bro. And he's here now.
Well, I've
That's crazy.
I've been working all day, so yeah, sorry for being late.
He's like, I'm covered in concrete. I'm like, just fucking roll up. Last time I talked to him, he just punched out some cops and just got out of jail because of your ego.
Well, yeah, because I think that I'll take no shit from no one, and then I'm gonna fucking get into it. With people. I think that I'm tight and I'm fighting them, and then before you know it, cops are there.
Yeah.
And there's 8 of them, and then now I have 8 felony charges against me for beating up cops.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So who knows? Maybe you'll be like one of our first residents here.
That's my problem.
Whoa,
Who knows? I'm just glad you're here, bro.
Like, so, wait, hold on. So, Jordan, when did you both in like the second paragraph? So look, I just on this is because this was the key that we were really that I thought was important, and as a dude who's been where you're at with the losing everything to a fire thing, and the children and the whole deal is he insists that positively no sacrifice can be too great to ensure the integrity of one's soul. Anything that stands in the way of that must be given up. right? So like it's all a soul. Like you're sitting right under the cross, brother. Like,
Oh my god, this is so good.
No, but it's that thing of right, like most of us got here on the drug and alcohol card, right? Like we didn't show up here because we had a bunch of like stuff. We were done. Like I got here like when I got here I had a fucking shitty truck and a skateboard and a fucked up surfboard and a bad attitude. That's all I had, right? Like, and then 8 years sober, I lost everything again, right? But I had God that time, so it wasn't that big of a regroup on it. Because
I think I have God, but I question myself about, do I really have God? Because I'll go to church and then I'll look at like everything. It's just such a battle.
Do you think that's your ego holding you back? I was going to ask you this.
Yeah,
you were
now that you
asking.
point that out, I do think it's.
Do you think your ego is getting in the way of you actually just accepting and just fucking?
You want to hear some funny shit? You know what ego stands for? Edging God out.
Yeah, edging God out. That's right.
Yeah,
Because I go to church, I'll go to young adults ministries, and I just feel like I'm constant.
Yeah, when you're not connected to your God, when you do have it, because you've experienced it sounds like, right? Your connection with God. When you're not there, it's your ego. Simple.
Or you're trying too hard to experience it.
but this much I know is true.
Oh my God.
There's this show, bro. It's God exists in our connection to others.
Mm-hmm.
So like right now, like this is it. This we care and we don't. Some of these people don't even know you. It's like that's.
Yeah.
So he's showing himself right now in this room, and it's a show.
I'm embarrassed of like where I am.
That's good, bro.
That's good.
Feel that humility, right?
Yeah.
Can I ask this? Is it drug and alcohol related? A lot of this, I know the fire. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
sober for the.
Okay. Well, that's the edging God out thing, right? Because like
I eat Clonopins,
okay,
like candy.
gotcha.
Well, I started to. I got a good doctor. I drink like a wizard.
Okay.
And I smoke pot like Cheech and Chong.
I thought you were the most important
Is it working?
person in the room. And then he
It's
showed
not.
up.
Only in like
Yeah, that's a good
I
thing.
don't want to feel like that. I don't want to use
Because
it.
if you'd asked
He's
me
the
when I
most
was still
important.
loaded, I would say-
He sat into the
All right,
cross.
He's not sober
real
yet.
quick, guys. Let's just try to keep a little structure.
Prosper's like, what the fuck kind of meeting is this?
Yeah. Mikey,
Yeah.
you raising your hand for what?
Oh.
Do you need a sandwich?
I'm really glad you shared. I just the whole God thing. It's like I had a conversation with someone the other day where a complete stranger, right? We're all trying to build something here and do something and reach as many people as we can. And that question gets brought up when we get sober. Or I have 17 years sober and I still question God. Still to this day.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I'm not sober and I don't believe in God.
No, I know. That's part of why I was explaining what God means
Right.
for
Can I
us.
go skip upstairs for a second?
Do you want to scrap?
No, hell no. Well, I don't know. It depends if he's on my side. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. You fight cops.
Nobody
Okay.
says go upstairs.
By the stairs. I'll get to a point. The point is, I know two emotions that everything in my life stems from. Can anyone guess those emotions?
Fear.
Love.
Love and fear, right? So fear, I struggle with fear on a daily basis because fear, a definition I've been looking into about fear is anxiety and loss of courage. Okay, so when I'm looking for liquid courage, that's what they call it. We use drugs, we use alcohol. Now, hopefully everyone in this room has experienced love. I believe you have because you have a daughter, right? I have a daughter as well. And that's the biggest form of true, real love that I've experienced. So when I look at God, and I said this in this meeting before, and because it's how I stay connected to God is that I need love. And I've said it before, to me, God is love. So when I have a daughter who is growing up every single day, she needs something different today than she will tomorrow. It's the same thing. like
Gregory.
Great.
Yeah.
We're talking about love, bro.
Love.
That's basically it. It's like we have I know two emotions that everything stems from. Like the insecurity is fear.
Yeah.
It's loss of courage. Love is if I could live in love and acceptance every day, I mean but how do we do that? This is how I do it with these people and hearing you share and Brett, right? Brett?
Yeah.
I have short-term memory loss. but like hearing you guys speak and seeing my friends, and this is my extended family, like I can't do this shit without these people. And just like if I'm basing my relationship on a higher power that is love, I mean I want to show my daughter love. That's it. And that's how God or the universe or a power greater than me views us. Now, getting into the whole subject of, well, why does bad shit happen? That's a whole nother discussion. But without pain and without struggle, we can't be human. So I don't know. I'm glad you're here, and Brett, I'm really glad you guys are here. So
yeah, thanks.
All right, we're out of time, but we're gonna have Kevin share because he had his hand up.
All right. Kind of to touch on what you were saying, and then I'll tie that in. What you were just saying, because that was extremely profound. Like you, dude, the fact that people believed in God when I first got sober frustrated me. Well, there's this thing called science, and your sky daddy. And your sky daddy really angers me right now. Please leave me alone. I got sober at this place in East LA where everyone would get up when they were sharing and say, I'm sober because of my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And I was one of like very few English speakers there. It was really challenging for me. But what changed for me is that people were kind to me. And that's kind of what recovery is. Like when you were saying that he's the most important person in this room, or that he's the most important person in the room, well, recovery doesn't really exist unless there's connection. The disease of addiction is isolation. We do these shitty things like you were talking about with materialism, chasing what we think is going to make us feel good. Like what you were saying with the hole, right? We just want to fill it with stuff. The more we do that, the more we cut ourselves off from our fellows. So with connection, like you're saying, we're able to stay sober. I have a disease. It centers my mind. It's an allergy of my body. I'm a hopeless fucking drug addict. Bar none. Like Skid Row, I look like a nice white kid from Westlake. I am, but I'm also a Skid Row junkie. And so that's what the disease is for me. But recovery, it exists in this. Like you were saying. That's, to me, God is either everything or God is nothing. And so, exactly like what you were saying, like other people's belief in God can still frustrate me sometimes, but I don't have to subscribe to their shit all the time. It's what he was saying a second ago, that this willingness to accept that I'm not it. I'm not the fucking puppet master controlling everything. That is the humility that you're finding. That, you know, if I just keep going and I become okay with walking through uncertainty and discomfort, life gets better. The more I'm connected to other people.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
But before I do step work, I have something that we read before we do it every single time. And because humans ruined the word God, just like we ruined everything. We just ruined shit. So before I do step work, I say, God, please help me forget everything I know about this book.
Set aside prayer.
About this process and about you, God. Just help me forget what my human flawed brain has just fucking warped everything. So I think AA is something. I think the big book is something. I think God is something. And it's ironic that I'm asking God to help me forget what I think I know about God. Because I've grown up thinking that God was this one thing, and AA is all about having an open mind to having a new experience with a new God of my own understanding. And it's not till I get sober and I see miracles that I can actually believe in some God, because I couldn't fucking stay sober for hours, much less a day. And now I fucking have 7 or 15 years. Some people would disagree with that, but that's okay. I definitely have today. But we're out of.
Should we want to ask anybody
time.
online if you guys have any quick questions or burning desires, or is everybody okay out there?
Mikey, are you checking the Alec Magia says, tell Derek I say what up. Maria says, much love, Pat. That's why I got sober. I miss the free spirit. I need to get sober. I'm lost. I got a lot of those from all over the place, you know. And yeah, anyone who ever asks me like, what do? I just say, find someone, anyone who's sober, and say, I need fucking help. That's really it, you know. Someone said, now I want a Coke Zero.
What's the fine line between selflessness and selfishness? Pat, they're asking Pat.
Selflessness and selfishness. I mean, I don't know if that line is fine. It's pretty, like, selflessness is me not thinking about what I need or what I want, and selfishness is thinking about what I need and what I want. And when I'm acting selfishly, I'm usually unsatisfied, because if I'm an alcoholic, I have an unsatisfiable mind. And the only time I feel okay is when I'm focusing on helping others. Thanks for tonight. Love you guys. This has helped me so much. God bless. So yeah, thanks to everyone for coming. And how do we fucking end this thing?
We do a prayer. Jordan, you want to list down whatever prayer you want after a few moments of silence? We don't like touch or hug or any of that jargon.
Speak for yourself.
You can hug me, Hamish. Yeah.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Amen.
Keep coming back. It works if you work it.
Nice to meet you, man.
I don't believe in coincidences anymore.